Hi, we're Paul and Vicki Jenkins. We're parents and professionals, and we get this question a lot. How do we teach our kids to be more positive? There are three main areas that we'll cover in this particular video. The third one is the most important, and we've got a special tool for you for that one, so stick through to the end.
One of the best ways to help our children learn how to be more positive is to be the example. This one is always one of those, so hard, right, as a parent? But as we take into consideration our own perspective on things, it opens up a lot more for us to show to our children how to be positive.
We can't get into that old trap of do what I say, not as I do.
Oh, I know. That is a hard one, and we don't want to be giving that message. Let's go ahead and be positive with them as well. Now, we are not talking the kind of fake, syrupy positive. That, they will see through that. Oh boy, have you met your kids lately? They see through fake so fast, so fast. So we want to learn how to do it for ourselves as well.
You may not be exactly sure how you're going to do that, but that's why we're creating these videos, and you got all the resources that you need. This is not about just think positive. Right. It's about understanding how you are thinking, and that thinking has an impact on your feelings, and your feelings impact how you show up. It's this whole process that we get to learn in personal development. You know, Vicki, I was thinking that parenting is probably the most powerful personal development program that we could ever enroll in.
Definitely. Well, what did we hear? We heard a saying recently that the product of good parenting is actually the parent.
Yeah. You're going to become a better person
as you
by learning how to do this. Yeah, and that's just one example, because as we put ourselves into a position of becoming a more positive person, a person filled with gratitude, a person who's filled with hope, that is going to teach our children more powerfully than any lesson we could ever give them. Vicki, here's another thing that a lot of the parents we work with are frustrated about, and it's media.
You know, media is a really tricky one. You cannot control all of it. So I think what we're trying to say is become aware of what part you can control, what you welcome. Be clear about which media you endorse, so at least your children know where you stand on it. And get as good as you can at controlling the type of media that comes into the house.
You know, I saw a commercial about this where there was a family sitting in their family room, and there's a knock at the door, and mom gets up and opens the door, and there are murderers and drug dealers standing out there on the porch, and she's like, yeah, come on in. You would never do that.
Right.
But what are we doing with our media? What are we inviting in? It really matters, because what we feed our mind is what drives our mood and our thinking and our behaviors. That's why it's so powerful to monitor the media. A lot of us as parents wish we had a little more control over that.
Definitely.
You might have more control than you think. Take a look at your internet connections, your television channels that are available. You can put parental controls on certain things. Now, a little disclaimer. Your kids are probably more tech savvy than you are.
Definitely. They can figure their ways around it, right? But and I was going to also add that they're going to tell you somehow that it's not fair for you to limit what they get. Just remember, you are the parent, and it is fair if you're the one that's paying for the services. As
we're thinking about that media issue, really we can't control what our kids consume. We're going to monitor it and take reasonable precautions, right? But the thing that is going to make the biggest difference is to help our kids get into a position where they are making wise decisions.
And the way to do that most successfully that we've seen is by creating a family culture where you have time to meet together, talk about important principles and topics and maybe sticky situations at a time when everybody knows we're talking about it, and you can come with a bit of a calmer feeling. You know, here's something that a lot of parents forget is we want to teach our child. We say teach. We want to kind of cram our idea down their throats. While, no, really, that's kind of what we're doing when they're really upset
sometimes.
and we're trying to teach them. It feels like you're the child feels nagged.
Sit down and listen to me.
Yeah. So really, you cannot teach when the emotions are high in your child. So that's why we want to talk about creating a family culture where you have time to sit down and introduce some topics that might come sometimes with a little heat. And you can talk about them in a calm way and strategize together. It's easier for your child to see the why behind the principle when they're not emotionally charged.
That is such an excellent point, Vicki. When we feel most motivated to do our parenting is when our kids are misbehaving.
Right.
But that creates a culture where you're going to start to feel like a prison warden in your own home.
And you don't get very good reception.
We also hear from parents a lot that they feel like they're constantly giving consequences or they're constantly trying to correct their kids. So the culture that you're talking about, Vicki, is one where we have a venue. Let's think about implementing this. And a very small percentages of families actually do this, but the ones who do are so much more successful in creating that culture. And the idea is the family council.
So the family council is just a time that you get together, kind of a meeting, but you don't want to make it too
not too
structured or
formalized,
anything,
right?
But it's a family council, a
But
time
it's
to
regular.
get together and discuss different things. This can feel kind of daunting to you as a parent, and so we want to help you as you implement family councils.
Yes, I promised you a tool. The tool is an agenda. We've already created it for you. You don't have to go figure it out. We've done that work for you. Just tell us where to send it. Now, when you have the agenda, you'll plug in the content and you'll see there that there are some essential elements. We want to have it on a regular basis. Now, the reason this is so important is because of what you said earlier, Vicki. In the heat of the moment is not the time to take on the topic. We want people to be calm. We want them to look at this as simply the topic of the day. It's not that they're being singled out for this particular problem. So the topic this week might be honesty. And the topic next week might be positivity.
Right.
The topic the week after might be sex or drugs. See, you can slip in those sensitive topics because it's just what we're talking about. You'll see there that the other elements are what make it more attractive to the kids and help to pull them in. So grab the agenda. Let's get a family council meeting started on a regular basis. We'll make it just part of the family culture from here on out.
Hopefully these ideas will help you in helping your child be more positive.
Cue up that next video too. We'll teach you some more ideas about this family culture.